Hey everybody, welcome back to my survival slime fun base here on the server. I'm your host Boomer, and today I want to talk about being friendly and helpful to the server. And I know that's something that players, for the most part, I would say 98% of players when they start their bases never think of. But when you start complaining about lag and you have what I have, ready? 38,857 blocks on the server, you have no right to complain about lag because you're the primary cause of it. In this case, it's me. So, my goal that I've set out is to find a way to reduce from 38,857 Slimefun machines, blocks, nodes, network, cargo, whatever's on the server, down to 20,000. Now, that's going to be a big challenge. However, we've got some tools to help us. Now, the first big project that we're going to tackle here to see how much this can help is my plastic sheet factory. This produces 2,362, I'm sorry, wrong math, 236 plastic sheets every 10 seconds. But there's almost 5,000 Slimefun machines, nodes, power energy connectors, all of that sitting here. I can reduce this. Ultimately, it will be reduced to 3 Slimefun tech generators. How do you say that's possible? Well, if I use the plastic sheet card and I upgrade 3 tech generators using all 4 types of robots at level 9, 2 accelerators, 2 cloners, I'll get 9 stacks every 78 seconds. Let's just make the math easy. 9 stacks every 81 seconds, or a stack every 9 seconds. So in 3 seconds, I'm going to get 192, and actually a little bit less than that. I'll get 192. So technically, I'll probably need a fourth. Now, to start with, even if I just use what I've got available, I have enough level 2 accelerator robots to reduce this to 136 tech generators. Now, I might have more, and I might be able to do the math to figure out maybe I can get away with less if I've got some level 3 or 4s lying around. But my goal is to remove all 5,000 of these, approximately 5,000, because again, for every machine there's a pusher and a grabber, every 14 machines is an energy connector, and every stack there's 12 network bridges to keep everything connected. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to rip this out. We're going to set up, depending on which level robot I can use, it'll be the level 2. If it's level 3, I'm going to set up 100 tech gens. And then we're going to see if the production keeps up and what is the net gain against my profiler on the server. So let me get to work. We'll get started here. All right, so we had essentially 5,000 Slimefun nodes, grabbers, pushers, energy connectors, bridges, and I've dropped it down to 75. And as a matter of fact, even with this, I'm slightly over the production needs that I had. Now, I want to apologize. Initially, I think each one I said was going to run at 4 minutes and 12 seconds. It's actually 2 minutes and 52 seconds because I upgraded them all to level 4 Berserk Golems. So at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, with 35 of these running, I'm producing more than the initial number that I had asked for, which was 720 per minute. I'm actually making around, I think it's about 780 to 800 per minute. I actually only needed 32 tech generators, but because you can't make a stack of 8, I didn't want to have an odd number. I wanted it to look nice, so I did 35. So I've got plenty of plastic sheets being made, and I should probably put a bigger storage unit on this side just so I can build up a safety cushion well above the 16 million I already have. Okay, that was project 1. So 5,000 nodes replaced with less than 100 dropped my performance rating down to almost 1,200% from close to, at one point it was near 1,600. Let me see what the next major project is and see how we can continue this march down to 20,000 Slimefun blocks. 4 days have passed since that clip, and I've been trying desperately with EMC Tech, trying to find a way to get all of my EMC Tech materializers to level 5. And I've given up. I've honestly found something that, at least for now, is not going to go boomer because of the sheer amount of time and EMC values necessary to create the level 5 materializers. Because I have over 5,000 level 2 materializers on my server. There's even more inside of the tower. I can cut half of these out. Actually, I could cut 75% of them out if I could make the level 5, because that runs every Slimefun tick. These run every 4. So I could cut 3/4 of them out, or get almost 3,800 items, plus the grabbers, plus the energy connectors and the bridges off the server. So I could get almost 10 or probably 8,000 items off. The problem is level 5 just isn't feasible yet. I might be able to make 4 or 5 of them in a relatively short period of time. To craft them, forget it. Is going to take forever. And to EMC them, just to give you an example, one perfected coal is 1.22 billion EMC. The default config doesn't recognize anything higher than about 500,000 when EMCing them, dematerializing them. Now, I have added a fair value for void, bits, dust, and ingot, so I can start materializing infinity expansion items. However, it's still going to take a long time. And so what I'm doing is I'm running my server nonstop for 48 hours to allow these items to build up. So the void quarry, the advanced quarry, the basic quarry, the nuclear reactor, the iron golem assembler. I'm going to store up as many of those as I can in 48 hours, and then I'm going to turn on all my dematerializers to see just how much EMC I can create, because I'm going to try to create level 4 materializers to replace half of these. And now the big challenge is, this is why we have to do it, is because raw meats, fish like that, there is no other add-in that can produce these in any significant quantities. Infinity expansion is one item every 12 seconds. After that, it gets even further and longer out. Cultivation can make a few a little bit quicker, but not of any substantial value without running literally thousands of cloches, which would probably crash the server. So, same thing here. 6 of the 9 items have another alternative, which would be the Stoneworks factory. But in Infinity Expansion, it makes one every 2 seconds. It's not fast enough. Now, for those of you who might know YBW0014 in the Slimefun Discord, this guy's awesome. Not only does he work to maintain so many add-ons from the original devs and others, and his own, he's also updating Infinity Expansion to make Infinity Expansion 2. What he's done specifically that's going to help me, that I'm going to be adding it to the server here shortly, even though it's not done yet. I understand that. I understand there's going to be some issues potentially, which I don't mind using as a bug troubleshooter for the health of the community. I've been doing that for years. 6 of the 9 items used for core of block can be generated by the Stoneworks factory, and because there's now 4 tiers, I can make 64 of an item literally every second. I believe it's 1 second to produce a stack of 64. The 3 that I'll still have to work on will be clay, endstone, and snow. I'll still need help from Supreme. So in theory, this will eliminate 2/3 of these. The majority of these will go bye-bye. The majority of those will go bye-bye, as well the ones in here. So that will help for the core, anything to do with the core of block, but anything with a mob drop or raw food, the majority of that, I'm still going to need help with EMC. So like I said, I'm going to run my server for 2 days solid to store up as many high-priced EMC items as I can, and then we're going to let it loose and see just how many level 4 EMC materializers I can make, because level 5 right now for me is out of reach to get any significant quantities. In the short term, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and install Infinity Expansion 2. Now, I did a full video tutorial on building the level 1 farm using the Supreme mob collectors. And now I'm actually going to backtrack and take these out. And here's why. A level 1 mob collector grabs 1 drop every 15 seconds. A level 2 takes 5 seconds. A level 3 takes 2 seconds. If you've ever looked at the crafting recipe for this thing, is insane. I can spend 1/100th of the resources making level 2 materializers. It's not 1/100th, but it's, oh my gosh, the value for this is substantially way above the value for these. And so all of this is going to come out because you look for every machine, there's a grabber and a ton of energy connectors. All of this is generating additional lag on the server. Now, there's not a whole ton here. There's probably about 1700, but that's still more than I can remove from the server. And then once I can get enough level 4 EMC materializers, that should take roughly another 4,000 machines and another 4,000 nodes off the server. So that alone should save me close to 10,000. And so I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do, just for the purpose of this, is I'm going to go ahead and start removing these, all three of these farms. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably add some EMC Tech materializers to replace the value of what these are harvesting in the short term. But even then, it's still running 2.5 times faster than every one of these. And the server will run faster because of it. So let me get started. Well, we ran that simulation I talked about where I got over 8,000 void quarries. I had roughly 6,500 or so advanced quarries. I had around 8,000 nuclear reactors and a few other items. And my goal was to get as much EMC as I could so that I could get enough level 4 or even 5 EMC materializers to replace at least half of these. So I started, and the first level 5 materializer was something like 1.2 trillion EMC. So that immediately stopped that. So then I started going after level 4s. Well, the level 4s is over 800 million EMC. So it says, all right, that's not going to work. Let's break it down to the main parts of the level 4. So anomalous coal, the anomalous machine frame, and the level 3 materializer. Everything else I had plenty of. Well, after running all those machines through and grabbing all that EMC, I got 33 level 4 materializers. The least I can say is that I'm horribly disappointed, but part of the problem is I have like 5,000 of these things down, so they're also were taking EMC at the same time, and the only way to stop that is not only to stop power from going to the machines, but it has to drain out of power, all their storage of the buffer of the 10,000 joules. Then they would stop running, which would stop chewing up EMC. So while all that was running, I was probably losing another 20,000 to 30,000 EMC every time Slimefun ticked. So this has turned into be an effort of futility. Now I've got the level 3s that I can automate, and I can actually get away by just sending one item to be dematerialized to create enough EMC for it. So I think what we're going to do here, and this is going to take a while, but I can get it done, is replace all the greens level 2 with gray, which is level 3. And so that will allow me to take out 25% of these at least. So that'll save 1,250 materializers, another 1,250 in grabbers, some bridges, some power nodes. So we'll just call it 2,600 Slimefun items that we can get off the server. Now, my initial goal was to get down to about 20,000. Well, since I've been taking items off to speed up other processes to help with this, I've actually added another 1,000 machines and nodes. I'm going the wrong way. So at this point, getting down to 20,000 isn't going to be possible, but let's see what else we can do. So this network, the Dynatech growth chambers, Overworld and Nether, they are the fastest machines available in any add-on by far. So unfortunately, downgrading them or to another higher tier just doesn't exist. They're all MK2s, and there's nothing else in any add-on that can do it faster and take up less space, either option. Now, it's possible that if all of these are filled, I might be able to remove a few of those. So we'll go through that, but that's not any significant gain. Same thing over here for the crops. The growth chambers are still the best, way better than Infinity Expansion or Supreme's Virtual Gardens, either one of them. Just cannot keep up. So, in that case, the next op. Uh-oh. I'm low on power. I guess I know what I'm doing next. The only other major option I have off the bat, man, this is getting messy in here, is this. Let me show you just exactly how much we're talking about here. Okay, this. This is the Carbonado farm and the synthetic diamond farm for Supreme. This can be knocked down by using Supreme's tech generators to a lot less. I still need some ore grinders to make diamonds into carbon for steel, Damascus steel, hardened, and so on. But I don't have any other use for a lot of this. Here's the problem, though. Let's pull up the machine that does this in Supreme. So it's the Magical Forge, or Forge Magical. All right, so to do this, it takes coal into carbon, which we're not going to use. We're going to use diamonds in a carbon. Now, this one, this is 6 of one, half of the other. 32 carbon to 8 compressed carbon in 15 seconds. Or the ore grinder does it in 16 seconds. So for every machine I replace, I gain 1/8 of a second per 2 compressed carbon. Nope, sorry, per compressed carbon that it makes. And then if you look at the crafting recipe, right, that's pretty expensive to gain that tiny little bit. And I'm still going to have to run, oh, I forgot what the number was. It's somewhere around 48 of them to be able to keep up with my current production. Then you've got 32 compressed carbon in a 4 carbon chunk. This is slow as heck because Networks Autocrafter does this, makes a carbon chunk every Slimefun tick. So I can make 4 in 2 seconds or 4 in 15 seconds. So that doesn't help. And so even if I replace all my carbon press 3s with this, I don't gain much, right? 1 out of every 16 machines gets removed. So it's not really any significant savings on the server, and it's a lot of time and resources and crafting for next to no gain. The only real major place we gain is here. Carbon chunk and a synthetic diamond, I'm making just over 1 per second, and here it's making 1 every 1.875 seconds versus I think it's 6 in a carbon press 3. So what we're going to do, whole plan, that's not a big enough gain on its own. We're going to rip all of this out except for the heated pressure chambers for blistering ingots, at least for the moment. All of this has come out, and we're simply going to go to tech generators. Every one of these towers is 168 machines, grabbers, and pushers, plus 12 bridges, plus 4 energy connectors. So 184 times 1, 1.5, 4.5, 7, 10.5, 11. So 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 21. We'll call it 22. So this will be well over 4,000 nodes, machines, and connectors that can be dropped down. I'm guessing to about 160 to 180 by the time we're done, simply because the tech generators, I can simply make synthetic diamonds and I can make carbonados straight out. So guys, take a look. You got to see just how much we got to clean up out of the server. Look at all of these. There were thousands of nodes and machines that we've removed and replaced with next to nothing. Just to give you an idea, I'm down to 56 ore grinders processing diamonds. I was well over 200, and 56 is still well more than I need. I have 56 carbon presses taking care of the carbons, making compressed carbon. I don't need that many. I could cut that in half even, but I wanted a safety net. And then Supreme, I have 21 tech generators making carbonatos, and I have 63 making synthetic diamonds. And each here is still more than I needed. I built a safety net because I'm planning on really ramping up the robotic, the robots through the autocrafting for tech gens. So just to give you an idea how much I pulled out. So we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 1,200, 1,300 nodes and machines in here. This one has, I don't know, 9, 18, let's just say a couple thousand, right? So we pulled out at least 35, 3,600 nodes and machines out of this network. Now, the other two big issues that we've got. If you remember the last clip, I said I was going to let EMC Tech run, and I tried that to get level 4 or even level 5 machines, and it failed. I've been letting this run since Christmas Eve. Today is now December 30th, so it's 6 days later, trying to rebuild my resources. I drained out so much of so many things that I ran out of batteries. I'm up to 1,200 void quarries. Big deal, right? I'm up to 6,500. I'm up to 7,000. I have no nuclear reactors. I'm just now getting caught back up on capacitors. I'm going to need to let this run for at least 2 to 3 more days. I have no reinforced plates. I mean, there's so much I don't have. So probably in about 3 or 4 days, I'm going to run everything again to collect all the EMC. And the goal here initially was to replace all these up to the next level. In other words, we were going to go from level 2 to level 3 and cut out about a quarter of these. And actually now the goal is to go after level 5s. And here's the thing. Most of these tech generators most of these EMC materializers can be replaced with tech generators. Now, the mob drops, no. So what we're going to do is upgrade these either to level 4, level 5. I might go after 5, but it's probably going to be level 4, which means I can still cut half of this out. For the core of block. Now, I did try adding Infinity Expansion 2, and it threw thousands of errors into my server. I don't know if it was because I had both Infinities on at the same time. I do have a backup copy of the server I'm going to load and fire up and see if that solves a problem by running just the new Infinity expansion. If it is, that gives me 2 possibilities. One would be to bring in the Stoneworks factories at level 4 and run 64 of those per, I think it's per Slimefun 2 ticks. I'd have to go back and check. It's fast. Much faster than the tech generators would ever be. You'll get 9 stacks, worst case scenario, in about 20 seconds. Whereas the best case scenario on a tech generator is 9 stacks every 78. And so for the ones that I can run the new Stoneworks factories through, I will. The snow, endstone, and clay will have to be through Supreme, through the tech gens. But all of this can go. Here we have gas tiers running for chicken engineering. This I can probably reduce some because, as you saw, it was completely full. So I should be able to take some of those out. And then finally, most of these as well. So right now I've removed almost 10,000 nodes and machines off the server simply through consolidation and upgrading. I have added some more to try to speed up some of this process. But by the time this is done, all right, every one of these little sections, so this 12 by 2 section of materializers is 700 nodes, machines, and energy connectors. There's 15 of these over here alone. Okay, so that's 10,000. I expect to be able to drop close to 8,000 of them off the server. So by the time I'm done, my goal was to get down to 20,000 nodes. I'm going to be close. I'm going to be at about 23 to 24, producing more, faster, more items in a shorter period of time than when I had 38,000 nodes on a server. Oh, and by the way, I did think about this. Somebody had keyed in the possibility of smart factory, and actually, the only way smart factory would come into hand and be helpful here, because it would still be the same amount of nodes using networks. But what it could do would be to eliminate the crafting, for example, reinforced alloy ingots, right? I think there's 11 different items you make along the way. That could save some of this, and I might look into it. But most of these are also available in Supreme. Almost all of the ingots, in one way, shape, or form or another, can be done in Supreme. And so this, with the exception of the dust generation, cobble, and the core ingots, which I'm looking to slime frame to eventually reduce and help me out with, a lot of that could go by as well. So we're going to keep working on it. We're going to keep trying to be friendlier to my server. And I encourage everybody as well, have fun, go boomer, but at the same time, be kind to your servers. If you start seeing lag and you're the cause of it, fix it, please, okay? It's a lot more fun when everybody has the ability to play and the TPS isn't it too, because you've gone boomer too much. So anyways, with that, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget, when you're playing Slimefun, go boomer safely or go home. We'll see you later.